வாழ்க வையகம், வாழ்க வளமுடன், குரு வாழ்க, குருவே துணை. So first of all, I think I would like to thank the organizer for the great opportunity. So initially I didn't think I'll give a presentation, but generally in most of the scientific conferences, the chairperson generally introduces a speaker, but here we have a combined session, so it was a great opportunity. So I would like to take this opportunity to combine theoretical and practical experiences what we got from our experience kind of thing. So first of all, the topic is spiritual aspects of neuroimaging. The kind of continuation of like Dr. Kishore pointed out, like the while you do the spiritual practices, so what regions of the brain is getting activated, what regions getting deactivated. First of all, I think why do we need this kind of study? Because this topic is a kind of triangular intersection between three major division. One is called neuroscience, spirituality, and consciousness, where everybody is talking about both the neuroscience faculty and spiritual faculty are worried about this consciousness, how to define this consciousness, can we identify the marker for the consciousness, many other things. So there are some questions when you do the deep meditation. So can we like scientifically prove, okay, you've done something good, that is written in the brain kind of thing. That's what the crosstalk between the spirituality and the neuroscience. And similarly, consciousness. So consciousness can be defined by mind reading or brain reading, whatever thing. And the thing. So myself, kind of Mabali rajan. So basically, I am a medical doctor and enter into the research. My lab is working on lung biology. I think because very relevant to the topic, Dr. Jayaprakash was talking about this mitochondria. So our lab had demonstrated mitochondrial dysfunction in asthma for the first time in the world. Followed by, we have like given this stem cell to the mouse. It is having asthma. Okay, so before you drug discovery going to the human, so we need to test in the mouse. So in that mouse, asthmatic mouse, so we have given this stem cell to the mouse. So that stem cell were able to donate the mitochondria. So you know that mitochondria present inside the thing and do the kind of powerhouse. So we first we demonstrated the kind of second evidence from the world. Mitochondria can be moved from one cell to another cell to rescue the injured cell kind of thing. So in this context, this is a different topic. Okay, so now coming back. So the importance of topic I already told you. Suppose I think we are all here. We hear all the spiritual lectures and we also practices. The importance is, suppose you do a deep meditation and then you have a peace of mind and happiness, loss of pain. Want to convince the other people, like your friends or sometimes strangers or your own relatives, son and spouse and all. Oh, this meditation, sky practice and all is giving lot of peaceful mind. Why can't you practice now? What would be the first response from them? Oh, really? They want to see the evidence actually. So immediately they will put, okay, can I put that sky and peace of mind in the Google? So let's Google it and talking with other people kind of to get the first-hand evidence, second-hand evidence kind of thing. So generally, people are having this kind of mentality. When it comes to health, they wanted to see the evidence. So when it comes to entertainment, and so for example, this like junk food, drinks and smoke, everybody knows that is going to give a bad effect in the health. That time, that brain is not working. When it comes to spirituality and health, they will ask so many questions. And that is simply because our evolution. So in the evolution, when we started our early human beings, we were worried about only the food. So when somebody is advising about the food, they will catch very easily. If somebody is telling about the, healthy food, healthy practices, oh, I don't know whether it work or not. So this is a kind of, so you understand? So this is a kind of second kind of brain. The first evolution, we started worried about only the food. If advice coming from the food or very entertainment practice, we are happy. So when it comes to a kind of a health related issue, they lost so many questions to shut up their mouth. And you need a evidence. Without evidence is very difficult to convince. It's very simple. For example, if you simply say that, okay, this verbally, this is good, please go ahead, nobody will believe. And this, like, you can see this image, like the elephant. You understand the elephant is described by the five blind people. So it's like that is a kind of verbal evidences. So that means, but ultimately, when you say that, okay, so after doing the meditation, the brain is getting changed, something is lights up, and that is called seeing is believing. So our Maharishi also said that you have to believe only scientific explanation. You understand that? Sollal mattum nambade suyamai sindite telivai. And that is the basic. And when you see the evidences, there are many varieties of evidences. And also, I told you about these verbal evidences. Verbal evidences like that only. So I think you are well known about this story. The Birbal wanted to explain there is a heaven. Okay, these are just verbal experiences. So when the verbal experiences simply like that only, it may not exist at all. Okay, so then how to prove it? How to prove them? Okay, whatever you are doing, that is very good for them. So the evidences, there are many types, and this slide I prepared only for the kind of research scholars actually. So most of the time when the research scholars taking the question, oh okay, let me take a proper questionnaire and I'll fill it up, and we'll finalize everything. And this is called first level of evidences, questionnaire or survey kind of thing. And in this, what happens? The people what you are taking, there is a subject, and the subject, that is a subjective biasness. You give a practice, and then how do you feel that? So they don't want to hide. Oh, this madam and sir has given a lot of practices. Why I have to hide? Ah, yes, you given the good. So, and this is called subjective biasness. Second thing is experimenter. So your guide is there, and if you are telling that that subject is not behaving properly, and the effect is very minimum, then the guide will say that, oh no, how we can complete the thesis with this one kind of thing. So then I think, and that is called experimenter biasness. Okay, and so ideally, what happens when you collect the data, and that the person who is collecting the data should be blind. So blind means it's called experimentally blind. That means they should not know this sample or this data coming from a group they have done like no sky practice or no meditation. Another group is a meditation. So whoever is collecting the data should not know about their status, and this is called blindness. It's called experimentally blind. And ideally, after collecting the data, they have to interpret. The interpreter should be a separate person, and after that analysis should be the separate person. Most of the times what we do, that whoever do in the PhD, they are the experimenter, they are the interpreter, they are the analyzer. So as a result, the results are heavily biased. Okay, then this is a kind of first level of evidences. Second level of evidences would be, okay, collect the physical sample. You collect the blood, or sometimes you can also collect the saliva, urine, stool, whatever sample available. And this is called, there are two kinds of sample collection. One is invasive. As the name indicates, invasive. So meaning you are giving disturbance to the body inside. That's called invasive. That means if you're collecting the blood, that is also invasive. Non-invasive, you know that measuring the blood pressure and measuring the respiratory rate, these are all the non-invasive. And this data, when you have these kind of data, it will be like second level evidences. You are going beyond little doubt kind of thing. And third level, ultimately, as I told you, imaging. So seeing is believing. So if somebody says that, okay, you give an image and give it to the 10 people, and the 10 people will have very minimal error. So more or less, if the white color is there, yes, white color is there. There is no kind of interpretation bias. So that's what the importance of this topic. So when we come to this level to prove that, okay, this practice is better, you need to come to this level. Yes, it is better kind of thing. And that is the importance of this particular topic. And before going to the topic, I'll give a very brief background so that really you can enjoy the presentation. In the brain, you have a four major parts. Even though it's like when you say in the Tamil, we say perumulai, sirumulai. The perumulai is nothing but the cerebral cortex, and sirumulai is nothing but a cerebellum, the down portion kind of thing. In this, so in this cerebral cortex or perumulai, it is having multiple portion. One is called frontal lobe. The front means front side. This is very important lobe. It kind of is important for the intellect. It's important for thinking. That is why when you see the monkey's brain or monkey forehead also, it will be like a slope backward, indicating that part is not developed anymore. That's what apes and monkeys and all. But when you see in the human, this part is well developed kind of thing. And second thing is coming like parietal. The para means side. So it's a kind of side part of the brain or side part of the skull. It's called parietal lobe. And this parietal lobe is important for all the sensory perception. And that's called somatosensory. In Greek word, som means body. That's what somatosensory means, body senses kind of thing. The important, for example, you may heard about the chromosome, lysosome kind of thing. All a chromosome is colorful body. Lysosome means blasting body kind of thing. And this body senses everything is perceived by the somatosensory kind of thing. And ultimately, temporal lobe. Do you know why it is called temporal lobe? There is no connection with the temple or whatever thing. Temporal means time. So why the people have given this temporal for this time? Because this is a index of the time. If somebody like 40 years old, like me, the first graying of the hair, where it will come? This portion. That is what is called temporal, means in Greek time. So basically, and that time has no relevance with the temporal lobe, but basically it's a kind of part of the skull kind of thing. But this is important for the kind of, you can see, sound energy kind of thing. And finally, the visual impulses going to the occipital lobe. Okay, so I think Professor Kishore talked about multiple images. Especially he focused mainly on the down one, the functional MRI. By doing the functional MRI, one can understand which part of the brain is active. Why it is active, we have to interpret kind of thing. So meaning, in general, most of these techniques people are using for the diagnosis of the disease, Alzheimer's disease or many other diseases. Now our purpose is to repurpose using the same technique to get an answer for the spiritual experiences. What is that? And that is what repurposing these neuroimaging techniques for the understanding the mechanistic basis of the spiritual experience. What is this mechanistic basis? As I told you, like we have a lot of question in our mind. If you do the deep meditation, you'll have a peaceful mind. So can you explain that when I have a peaceful mind, when you have the peaceful mind, which part of the brain is getting activated, which part of the brain is getting deactivated or reduced kind of thing? And sometimes when you go for deep meditation, you lost yourselves. Somebody is shouting and you may not hear at all. Okay, and that means something is happening in the brain that prevent the entry of that signal to the brain. That's called sensory perception. And finally, like when you do the meditation, deep meditation, this is also personal experience, you also experience very well. So 2 hour job can be finished within 1 hour because of the focus, because of the concentration, focus kind of thing. And finally, I think when you have a lot of pain, when you do the meditation, pain will disappear or pain will be reduced kind of thing. So can we explain all these things with the neuroimaging? Yes, it can be done. That is the purpose of the presentation. And yesterday, I think Dr. Rabindranath sir talked about the waves. And also in the books also, you also talked about in the spiritual books and most of the scientific books, you talked about only the 4 waves, starting from beta, alpha, theta and delta. And yesterday, Dr. Rabindranath sir also talked about when you reduce the frequency, you are going into the very peaceful mind and kind of thing. And this finding is relatively controversial. And they found very recently, within 5 years, they found that the deep meditators, they identified a wave called gamma wave. You understand the top wave. And also you see the the frequency of the cycle is more. So far, we understood that when the frequency is higher, somebody is like angry, kind of thing. Now, I think we need to rethink, re-hypothesize. It may not be true. But what they are claiming that when you suppose if you are having some problem in the life or in the office, whatever thing, professional or personal problem, and that problem is stressing your mind all the time, all of a sudden you got a solution. That time, half a second or 1 second, you get this gamma wave. But is for the common man. But in case of deep meditators who do the meditation continuously, this gamma waves is persistently present. Even you cannot get rid of that one. Meaning, when you have this gamma wave, what is the characters of this gamma wave? As I already told you, it has some many frequency. That's a little controversial to current concept. Current concept, what you are saying that, oh, when you reduce the frequency, peaceful mind kind of thing. Here, when there is a more frequency, there may be a possibility of the decision making kind of thing. Okay, so it is having some kind of characters. I put in the, I mean, kind of mnemonic. We say it's called mnemonic to understand in a better way. G for gifted, and this kind of character will not happen to all the individual. When you have a deep meditators, you are gifted individual, and that is called intelligent or learning kind of thing. And A for awareness. A for awareness, M for memory. Memory is sharp, very sharp, and M for mental clarity, and A for attentive. So I given this kind of. So, and this is I think recent investigation. One of the topmost journals called PNAS. Okay, this PNAS had published a paper. They have kind of long-term meditators, and they have observed that you see that, I mean, downstream graph diagram. One is the control, that side is the practitioners, and they found that the percentage of the practitioners who got a persistent for long time, like gamma wave, is maximum kind of thing. So we need to see whether this gamma wave activation can also happen in the sky practice or not. That is yet to be seen kind of. Next, we talk about the neurotheology. So theology, neurotheology is an important word. Theology means religion. So by brain imaging, can you differentiate spiritual practices or religious practices kind of thing? But most of the time, you may have a kind of similar thing, but many time also, I think you may not have similar appearances kind of thing. And here what they talked about, so basically this is called Dr. Andrew Newberg study. What they said that you take a group of individual, they follow the religious practice for a long time. So what kind of changes happening in the brain? And what they found that, remember I was telling about the parietal lobe, and that involved the somatosense. All the body senses is absorbed by the cortex region, and this is called parietal lobe. So when you see here, normal individuals, there is a parietal lobe thickness is bigger. And when you do the meditation, the parietal lobe thickness is thinner. What is that particular portion? And that portion is responsible for the sense perception. You understand the five senses: touch, sense, smell, and everything. And this is a reason why you go for deep meditation. You lost yourself to the surroundings because you are going to associate with the universal divine power. So now you can explain that why we lost ourselves and we associate with the divine power because of this particular region. So somatosensory cortex, I mean the cortex, the brain portion that perceive the sensory signal, that is getting down regulated or activation is reduced, and this is the reason. Second thing is, as I told you that it's like you see that switching on and off of the lights. And similarly, when you do your practice, when you smell something, when you speak something, some portion of the brain is getting activated, some portion of the brain is getting deactivated. And that's the simple theory of the neuroimaging kind of thing. As I already told you that when the person is going for the deep meditation, a portion of the brain is getting down, I mean the deactivated, and this is called parietal lobe. And this parietal lobe is responsible for the sensory perception of all the senses. And I already explained to you. So if it shuts down, we lost that sense of self. And that could be the possible reason, the oneness to the divine power. Okay, so now I think once we talked about the deactivation, the another side what happens, some portion of the brain getting switched on. It's like light is on. Similarly, some portion. And which portion is getting switched on is called limbic system. And limbic system is having importance for the kind of behavior, gentleness, and consciousness, many other thing kind of thing. So now in this limbic system, there are many functions. There are many parts, starting from hippocampus. The name indicates hippo means horse tail, and then amygdala and thalamus kind of thing. So now I think in the earlier presentation you talked about, the madam talked about the hypothalamus, and hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal axis kind of thing. So here we wanted to see, is there any possibility to measure some of the hormones secreted by this neuroendocrine gland, starting from your pineal gland, pituitary kind of thing. So now what we did that, when I was in Delhi, in CSIR Institute, I had an opportunity to work with the Delhi Manavala Mandram, where we have taken the individuals from the Manavala Mandram itself. We are given the 3-month practice. So after 3-month practice and before 3-month practice, we have done this assay, collecting the blood and measured a hormone called orexin. So orexin, another name is called hypocretin. Hypocretin, as the name indicates, hypo means is coming from hypothalamus. So after 3-month practice, we found this hypocretin is upregulated. So what is the importance of the hypocretin? Because it is coming from the hypothalamus, and that is equivalent to your Sahasrara chakra and beyond the pineal gland kind of. So now next one, what is this orexin? So orexin is an important neuronal hormone, and when you are alert, and this hormone is activated, and there is a syndrome, there is a disease called narcolepsy, and all of some people listening a talk, immediately they go for sleep. Some people driving, immediately they go for sleep. In these individuals, this hormone level is down regulated. Now our practice, Sky practice, is shown that this orexin level can be upregulated, meaning we can use this practice to this narcoleptic individual or a person who's having the attention deficit disorders kind of thing. This is the proof for that, and we need to, this is a very preliminary study, pilot study, we need to prove with more number of samples kind of thing. And in addition to that, the orexin is connected with many other neurochemicals like serotonin, melatonin. We measured most of the cytokines and neurotransmitters. So as you can see, so these are the happy chemicals, starting from serotonin, oxytocin kind of thing. So this dopamine, endorphin, these are all the happy chemicals, mostly secreted by brain part kind of thing. For example, if you see the oxytocin coming from the posterior pituitary, that posterior pituitary or anterior pituitary coming under the Agna chakra kind of thing. So now what we did that, we continued this meditation with the help of Dr. Malati. She had recruited 3 groups of individual, control group, and 1 people go for gym, only physical exercises, in the normal gym exercises. Third one would be the Sky practice kind of thing. So these 3 groups, what we've done that, we collected blood before and after, we measured this oxytocin. So again, this is a kind of pilot study we want to improve by taking more individual, but the pilot study experiments very promising that after 3-month exercise, this oxytocin level is very high. So what is this oxytocin? As I told you that it's pituitary, it's a love hormone. Whenever a mother is giving a birth to child, the mother and child connection is because of this oxytocin. It's not only present in the human but also in all species. This is a natural gifted hormone kind of thing. And people have reported that, as I told you, that oxytocin level is increased both in gym practice as well as a meditation practice. So even gym practice is sufficient to cause kind of happy hormone kind of thing. And some people have reported that when oxytocin can be given as a nasal spray. The asthmatic patient give a spray. Similarly, oxytocin spray is a kind of, the upper one is control group, lower one is, so this is not our data. So we want to substantiate our data actually. This is the Western data where they given oxytocin in the intranasal spray form, where you can see that here the signal is, there is a more yellow means more brain is getting activated. Generally what happens in case of some individual like autism, children and all, the brain may not be active all the time. So in those individuals, whether this oxytocin can be beneficial, the people would try it. So this can, so meaning ultimately our practice may be helpful because it increases oxytocin. So it may activate some portion of the brain, so that could be useful for the autistic children who is having attention deficit hyperactivity disorder kind of thing. So top one is control group. Sorry, the bottom one is control group. You can see the signal is very poor. The top one is more red color and all. More red color, white color is a more signal kind of thing. So more signal means most of the brain is getting activated. And generally, we also measured melatonin, and this melatonin is a kind of hormone. Okay, this is coming from the pineal gland. Today morning, Jayaprakash sir talked about this melatonin. We also measured this melatonin. Melatonin found to be upregulated after 3 months Kai yoga practice. So this melatonin is coming from the pineal gland. As I told you, this is a kind of somehow the Sahasrara chakra. This melatonin is having important function, reduces oxidative stress, and also heal the injured cells. The why it is called melatonin, mela means darkness. That's what we know. The melanin, dark pigment in the skin. That melanin is different from melatonin, but mela means darkness. And also in addition to that, melatonin is having a capability to reduce oxidative stress, nitrative stress, NF-kappa B, many other pathways. Is a kind of inflammatory pathway, so that the aging can be reduced by giving melatonin. But we cannot simply take the melatonin as a tablet. A lot of research trial is going on, but it's a natural way of increasing melatonin by doing the deep meditation in the kayakalpa yoga and sky practice. In addition to that, we are also talked about like serotonin. Serotonin is a hormone, is kind of mood related hormone. And yesterday, Dr. Thomas was talking about the God gene, like vesicular monoamine transporter, and that is linked with this serotonin, dopamine and all. Further, yet to be investigated that whether that is there any connection between the God gene and the serotonin level kind of thing. And in addition to that, I'm coming back to normal thing, religious practice. Somebody is doing the religious practice, some portion is getting activated, and that portion is called nucleus accumbens kind of thing. And some people, I think you know that there are some in Christian religiosity, and they do only prayer. So whether that prayer had something to do with this brain activity, and in the prayer, because they read a lot, so when they are reading a lot, the language recognition part is getting activated. But this only prayer alone, unless if you mechanically reading, only language will be affected. The mechanical plus kind of inner peaceful visualization may lead to activate some peace of mind related brain portion kind of thing. And also, and we have a question, when the meditation we do, we get a lot of focus, attention and all, and this is due to a region called dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. People have reported that this dorsolateral prefrontal cortex is activated when we do the deep meditation. In addition to that, there is a perception called pain. So we also see that the pain perception loss away, or the kind of tolerance is increased when you do the regular meditation. That is because of this particular reason called somatosensory cortex, and there is a region called anterior cingulate cortex. Because the pain perception itself is reduced. Pain will be there, but the neuron will not send that signal to the brain 100%. It will reduce, and that is because of the somatosensory cortex. And there is an interesting word called default mode network. I'll end up the presentation with this one. Basically, what is default mode network? What is the meaning of default? By default, okay. So if you are sitting one place and doing nothing, and this is called default kind of thing. So why they named like this one? And this default mode network is kind of discovered by a scientist called Marcus E. Rayleigh. So what he did that, wanted to see this meditation practice is not related to meditation actually, wanted to see one deceased individual and the control individual. Wanted to see in the deceased individual which part of the brain is getting affected. So when you see that which part of the brain is getting affected, they have to compare with the control individual. So what they will do that, you take the individual and instruct them that, okay, you sit in this place for 2 to 3 hours, sometimes 6 hours, 8 hours also. And the deceased person will be also there. So after 3 to 4 hours, then they go for this kind of image kind of techniques. What they found that, see, you understand this 2 to 3 hours, what they will do, they silently sitting, they read the newspaper kind of thing, and also doctors instruct that do not involve in any activity. You understand? If you involve any activity, some portion of the brain is getting activated. Meaning they will tell that simply silently you sit. So can we compare that silent sitting similar to maunam in our practice? Possible, but we need to establish that. Probably what they found that they want to compare that, okay, this is a disease individual, this part of the brain is getting activated, and this is a control individual, nothing is there. But in contrast to their kind of hypothesis, or contrast to the belief, that's called serendipitous discovery, and some portion of the brain is activated even if you are sitting silently. When the people are sitting silently, what they will do, they'll think about kind of self analysis, it's the introspection. So what, I mean, why I'm suffering, oh, this suffering because of that. That's what in the practice we say that ennamaaraithal, asai seeramaithal, everything that is coming under the introspection. When the person is sitting silently for a long time, they think about their past experiences, why they got suffering, and how to plan. Okay, I got this suffering because of this particular impact, so I will reduce that impact. And this is called, so probably this default mode network and nothing, I mean, they didn't mention anything about introspection, but we can correlate that if somebody is sitting this in the silent area, and this you can see that this region, and basically this region is called combination of 4 regions of the brain. One is called dorsal medial prefrontal cortex, posterior cingulate cortex, and precuneus and angular gyrus. And these 4 regions are activated even in control individuals. And so basically, since the control individual should be like control, they should not have any signal at all. Okay, unless they read something, they hear something, they see something. But his mind is like a monkey, so we cannot stop the mind. Okay, that time when you go for introspection, we do the same thing. When you go for silence, actually the Maharishi way of silence is a, I mean, blocking the thought itself. Okay, so we cannot directly correlate this with the maunam, but many of us, when you go for silence, we also think about our past and experience kind of thing. So I just correlate this default mode network with the introspection and maunam. So anything can be investigated. I think, as I told you, that we need a kind of visual evidences to prove, to give a confidence that, okay, this practice is a good practice. If you saw this kind of image, okay, you see the images are done in our practice before and after, and then they will convince not only the common people, even the, I mean, international level, everybody will be convinced, so that the practice will be disseminated all over the world. So with this, I would like to thank the organizer for the fantastic opportunity. Thank you very much. வாழ்க வளமுடன்.